Let me drive, let me drive. Let me get behind your
Kids,
wheel.
it's Elo, and we're gonna have a little fun with chasing DDF. This is the Daytona circuit, and what's been going on the last week is everybody's trying to figure out the best way to run Daytona in the 30-minute races. It looks like people have figured out that if they're really, really careful, and it's right down to a fine line, if you run a one pit stop strategy and run it in level 1 of the engine mode, then you can make it you can make 15 minutes with no stops. But you need drafting, you need to watch it, you need to stay out of 5. So everybody's been playing around with their setups to try to figure out who's got the best of whatever. So I have also been doing that. I've been chasing DDF around this track for the last day and a half, trying to build up some speed. And over the course of Saturday and Sunday, I figured out a bunch of settings that have really made a difference, and I'm qualifying second in the Daytona 15-minute races that I'm doing. And, it's like, wow, all right, well, obviously I've got something going right here. So I started tweaking, the setup and tweaking it. It's like, wow, all right. And then I did the leaderboard, and I got like 30th, and then 27th, and then I was 21st. Then I got knocked back up, and then I'm down to 19th or 18th, and as more people have attacked it, I'm now at 21st. And I'm 0.3 of a second behind, or 2.6 tenths of a second behind DDF here, who you're watching running in front of me. I'm not really paying attention to this lap because it's the warm-up lap. So what we're going to do here is, this is I think I'll double check it here in a second. This is because that's what I wanted to show you first. Okay, so here we are with default setup. Doing a run with DDF. And of course, this will be way behind DDF. But it just demonstrates the difference between a stock setup and what happens when you start messing with it. So you can't change the tire pressure, and you can't change the fuel. And neither one of those items change and or deteriorate as you do this. So it's all about the driving line and the aerodynamics and rolling resistance. So this is the stock setup. We'll do, I think we max out a little less than 300. My top end on the straight here that I've seen is 303. And hitting a really good lap. Now you can see that I'm, the upper left there, we have that red text rotating. I'm sorry I've got the map there. I need to get rid of that.
That lap was a 49.32.
49.32. But we really hadn't even warmed up yet, so we'll probably get it down to 49.1 something here. But you could see how much of a lead he already has on me coming around this first corner. And I'm tracking right with him. My movements are nice and smooth and steady. I'm creeping on this wall just as close as I can get. And he's just slowly inching away from me. So it's just nice, smooth duck down into the inside here. Trying to hold that line really smooth. As few wheel movements as possible. Let it flip to the outside. Try to let the wheel go neutral for a bit. Reduce that rolling resistance. And tuck to the inside.
You've just done a 49.24.
Okay, 49.24. So 49.24, and that's with the stock setup. So I started dicking around with everything, trying to figure out some way to make the car better. And you know, my thought process on it was, how can I decrease rolling resistance? And that's where I was coming from. How can I reduce rolling resistance? So, toe in, front and rear is zeroed out, both. I want it it's loose as hell when you're behind somebody. Oh gosh, it's loose. The other thing I did was the ride height is up quite a bit, but not all the way. And in fact, in the rear, the ride height is actually down a little bit. Okay, so we've got in the rear, the wing angle is 0, right? So if you think about the car's front and back and how it hits the wind, I could increase the wing angle by lowering the front end and raising the back end, and that would be the same as raising the wing angle. So why wouldn't it be the other way around, that if you make the front a little bit higher than the rear, you're going to actually get negative wing angle out of that wing? So that's the first thing I'm thinking about. One of the things I thought about was the ride height. And by not going all the way up with the front end ride heights. Now, I've screwed with this, and I've slammed the ride heights down in the front and way up in the back, and all kinds of different variations. And about the best I can find is this setup here with the ride height, you know, above what it normally would be for the car, but still lower in ratio to what the front is. So that was one thing I did. The second thing I did was I went down to the fast bump and fast rebound, and I reduced those, and that actually picked me up some time. But the thing that picked me up the most time was the camber change. Kicking the camber way out. And also, I've also screwed with changing one of the tires that gets really hot. The left rear tire gets hot in this, as does the front right tire. And my guess is that somehow changing the camber of this left rear only is going to somehow get some resistance back. So anyway, so in this setup, I could go back out and we could do a drive. And we'll see what happens. Again, it's the low line, very few wheel movements, trying to be smooth and consistent. Hug the wall when you can, let the wheel go loose when you can. Nothing drastic movements. Don't hit the wall. This setup is hell when you're behind somebody else. Oh, you are working so hard to keep things in line because it's running such a loose setup. But loose is fast on this track. The camber idea I got kind of, if you look at the back end of DDF's car right now, and look at the way his rear tires are positioned in relation to his body of his car. And that's where I was thinking, well, that toe out, I mean, the camber has got to be part of the solution. Now, note that I'm kind of sticking with it.
48.80.
I was sticking with it there. That was a 48.8, so I'm already only, you know, not too far off my own time. Upper right-hand corner, there's a red over white car indicators. It's the radar. Note that in that corner, he managed to basically get a lead on me, but watch, you know, he's not gaining a lead down the straight here. So he's getting a little bit of time in the corner. Notice how he's kind of dancing around a lot. He's side to side dancing, and I'm not. So what has he got in his setup that's so loose that he's dancing around like that and getting such a good time?
You've just done a 48.70.
48.7. So, you know, getting close. And again, he still has a lead on me. He's getting more speed out of the corners and just incremental amounts and carrying it down the straight. So there he is. He's gained speed in the corner on me. And yet I'm pretty much sticking with him right here on the straight. He's not gaining any speed on me here. So something about my setup is better, keeping me with him on the straights, and I'm actually almost keeping with him here as well. And then he comes out of that corner with just, look, he's starting to gain a little bit. How did he do that? What's he doing different?
That lap time was 48.67. Good lap. That's your quickest so far.
So, yeah, so back into the pits, and let's see what we can do to change things up. Oh, softer springs, maybe? Maybe? I can't see it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to soften up the springs front and back all the way and go back out and see if the car is bouncing around less, more, whatever. It's kind of what I've been doing, is making drastic changes to see which way things swing. Okay, here we are back in the setup, and yeah, that did not work. So if we put that back where it was for now, I think stiffer springs are actually a bit faster. If you were to look at what does the car and the forces on the car look like when it's in mid-corner? If you took your two hands and you put your palms facing each other out in front of you, so you're seeing the thin portion of your hand, and you pretend your hands are the tires, and you set them up in the corner, and you pretend that at the bottom of your hands, that's the road and the grip on the road and the forces on the car, and how is everything going to tilt and move, and what changes could you make that would help the car do its thing better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the inside wheel cambers, and I'm going to reduce them back down to the center point. Now, theoretically what this will do, okay, so the outside tire, the bottom of the outside tire is being pushed in. So giving it more camber tilts the wheel at the top in, forcing, so that wheel is now going to ride straighter on the corner than it will at a standard camber angle. But on the other side, the bottom of the wheel is actually being sucked in, so reducing the amount of camber that it would normally have. Anyway, I think you can I barely understand what I'm doing. So anyway, so we're going to take this for a run with that change and see what difference it makes, if at all. Because the idea, what we're trying to do is reduce rolling friction and or wind resistance. I don't think we can make the car much more aerodynamic. Although if this doesn't work, I'm going to go back to tweaking the ride height. And mind you, I've been here for like 3 hours yesterday playing with this, seeing where I can get it to go right now.
Your last lap time was at 48.74.
So there's a 48.74, and that's just the first warm-up lap. And if you look at the radar up in the upper right, you can see that he's still not a lap. He's still, not got that car length on me. And now, boom, there he is out front. He's gaining a little bit down the straight, not much. Actually, I might have gained on him there. So I'm close, and I'm right there. I was also really close to setting my own time there. The pace indicator flashed blue there for half a second.
That lap was a 48.68. You're less than a tenth off your own pace.
48.68. So, man, I'm close. Just smooth out the driving. Now that entry was bad. That'll lose me a millisecond.
You're a tenth of a second off your best.
There he is. So I'll run down the inside here, and we'll beat up down at the other end. I mean, the assumption I've had is that running up against the wall is always faster. But it may not necessarily be 100% true, because there I am, and did I lose any time on him? I don't think so. He's basically right in that same spot he's been in, right out front. So I think what I'm going to do...
That was a 48.65. That's your best lap in the session.
I think what I'm going to do, and obviously that camber change does help, but there's something else there. What I'm going to do is... No, I don't want to restart. I want to go to the garage. Thank you. And when I say I want to go to the garage, I mean I want to go to the car setup. So, the camber different has helped a bit. So now I'm wondering, should I... Maybe the ride height could use a little adjusting. So I'm going to come down one there to lower that front just another notch. And just go back out like that and see what happens.
Your lap time was a 48.72.
Wow. Check out the radar. Check out the radar. He's not gaining back on me as much. If I was a little smoother, I don't think he'd be gaining at all. But look at that. Look what he gained in the corner. Dag nabbit. Again, it looks like I've got him on the straight. But somehow he's getting a little bit more in the corner. Ah, this is frustrating. I'm gonna get you, DDF. I'm gonna get you.
You've just done a 48.62.
Jesus, 6 1,000ths off my best time. 5 1,000ths off my best time. 5 1,000ths. That's a really, really, really small amount of time.
You've just done a 48.62. You're less than a tenth off your best.
Yeah.
That was a 48.69. You're currently 0.07, slower than your best.
So, there we go. We found a little bit. But we're still it's just, gosh, so close. All right. Back in. I think we're going to lock that one in. That change was pretty good. So let's go in and save this setup. And I really am kind of stumped. Where is he getting that difference in the corner? And it's got to be with the way the tires are acting when they are in the corner. Okay, so what we did here was we increased the ride height of the outside, the right side wheels, both front and back. I'm stabbing in the freaking dark at this point. What'll be interesting is if DDF does cough up his setup, what the differences will be. You know, did we get close to the same areas? Or you know, is my own experimentation gotten me close to what the fastest setup is?
48.70. That lap was a 48.65. You're less than a tenth off your best.
So instantly already better than the last time out on the first lap. Let's see if I can't improve that a little bit, because this is the lap that should get me a little bit closer. Again, he's gaining just a hair on the corners now. Ow, that's going to slow me down. That screwed that up. All right, go around again.
Your lap time was 48.71. That puts you 0.08 off your best.
Yeah, look how far behind I am already from having bumped the wall there.
That last lap was a 48.66. You're less than a tenth of a second off your best. You've just done a 48.66. You're less than a tenth off your own pace.
Man, 48.66, 48.65, all right in that area. So this change isn't really helping. I mean, it's about the same as, although this feels just a hair closer. We'll let it go with this one more lap, see what happens.
That was a 48.65. You're less than a
Jesus.
tenth off your best.
Man, we're so close. So
close.
changing the ride height, it might have helped a little bit. It seemed to, you know, kind of make it easier to hold with him. So where's the difference?
God,
This is tough. I tell you what. What do you think?